I'm back. I'm Clifford, your spiritual guide and energy alchemist, and today we're going to be talking about positive versus negative desires, because the teaching that I really want to give you is on following your desires, just like Neville Goddard teaches, except as with everything in spirituality, there's always a spectrum and a paradox contained within each truth. So while I talk to you, I'm actually going to straighten my hair. I don't really wear makeup at the moment except lipstick. Figure that I'm 42. My skin isn't that bad. I mean, it has a little bit of stuff here, but, you know, who cares? But yes, I think I'd probably wear more makeup if I knew how to do it better. But at the same time, I think it's fine. Look back on some of my videos and some of the makeup's just so caked on. And I'm like, why? Why? Okay. So this is for you if you are a leader, if you are the type of person that you want to help people and make the world a better place, if you're a maven on a mission, because I help people who want to help people. I help the entrepreneurs, especially the spiritual, intuitive, the passion and purpose-led entrepreneurs. Okay, so it's really important to understand, actually let's take these off. It's really important to understand that following your desires is a really great way to manifest. And say hi as you come on. Welcome, welcome. It's so good that you've caught me live. But when following your desires, you really need to, I guess, tune in and think them through. Now, I'm someone who often has not done that. Okay, so I've learnt this the hard way, plus also through studying spiritual law, through Neville Goddard, the path work, many great teachers like that. It's really important to understand that your desires will guide you like a stepping stone forward. But we all have negative desires. Now, where do these negative desires come from? Now, I'm going to tell you how to know which one is negative and positive, okay? So listen up, because this is one of the most important things, really, it is. Okay, so I've written them down from my mind. Okay, so negative desires come from pride, which is, it's about vanity. So I believe there's two types of pride, and you need a new word for it. So I've got proudness. So you got proudness when you approve of yourself because you did something right. That's proudness. That's a good sense of pride. But then you've got the negative sense of pride, which will kill your dreams and will alienate you from people and isolate you. And everyone has it to some degree. And I've spent years and years and years and years working through it. So obviously I still have some pride when it comes to the negative form of pride, but not like I used to. That made me so insecure. I was constantly worried about what everyone thought because I had so much pride. Okay, so the positive type of pride I call proudness. That's self-approval. That's when you congratulate yourself for a job well done and you feel pleased with yourself and you like yourself. The negative pride is where you want to look a certain way and impress others, where you don't want to lose face, which generally often makes you lose face anyway. And so you hide parts of yourself, or you're even, what's the word, aghast, like, oh my God, at the fact that you have certain faults. Even when you might tell others who have the exact same faults that they're okay, like maybe one of your friends has some extra weight and you tell her, oh, but you're still beautiful, you're still lovely. But then you put on some extra weight and you're like, oh my God, how could I have put on this weight? It's so awful, da da da. That's pride. You're saying that your friend is good enough to have that, or not good enough even. It's like your friend is at a level where it's okay if she has the extra weight, but you, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. You're way too above having whatever it is, if it's that extra weight or whatever it is. And consciously, you wouldn't think of it like that. Like a lot of people, if you do that, you'll hear that and you go, no, that's not it. That's not it. But unconsciously, we hold on to these parts of ourselves that really do feel aghast when we have faults. I think that'll do. So pride is one of the negative desires. Okay. So where you want it because of how it will look, where you want it to impress others. Needing to impress others is one of the most toxic things that you can do for your own self-growth, for your success, and for, what's the word? connecting with and combining with other people and creating deep relationships. When you want to impress others, you think that by you being better than them will make them like you. But it actually doesn't. It causes jealousy, it causes insecurity, all of these things that really cause havoc in the world. And your need to impress can actually make you, well, it comes from an insecure place, but it can actually make you incredibly insecure when you try to appear better than you believe you are. Now, identity work, ideal self work, that's all very, very good. But it can be very easy to take it too far when you identify, well, my ideal self should have these habits, should dress like this, should look like this, should be like this, but I'm really not like that. And so then maybe use all these filters. I know I use some very light filters. I never use like the bold glamour filter or anything like that, but just some light filters to smooth out my skin. But then what happens, and this is what happens, it started making me feel insecure to see people in person because I didn't actually look like that. And even though I thought it wasn't that much of a drastic difference, it was still enough that when you'd see people in person, you could tell, right? And even now, like just with the camera angle, this sort of camera angle is very flattering for me. And, you know, the panel light that I've got, I already look a bit different here, better here than I do in person. Just as I said, the camera angle and the bright lights. So then when you take it to the next level and you put the filter on, and then especially if you wear contouring, face shape changing makeup, then you are going to be incredibly insecure about people seeing your real face, and you're never going to be able to be your real self, right? These are real problems. So when your desire comes from, oh God, I want that car because then everyone will know. I want that car because then I'll be like in a way that will impress others and make them think, oh, that you're so good. What if then you get the car because you have that desire, you get it on some finance thinking, oh, I'm just going to be so positive and manifest the money, but yet you don't have the money habits, you don't have the money beliefs, you aren't able to hold the energy of belief in your desired reality. So you get the car and then you have to pay off the payments. Everyone's seeing you drive around this nice car, but then you can't invite them back to your house because you're like, oh, the car is way nicer than my house and I'm embarrassed about how my house looks. Well, that means that you're suffering from a need to impress, which is proving yourself. Now, when you need to prove yourself, you never can. It's a vicious loop. And what's so important to understand about this proving yourself, like, don't we always hear people say, I just want to prove myself. I want to prove this. I want to prove that. I want to prove to everyone. Well, guess what? This is a toxic belief. And yeah, it's so common in society. It's so common in our culture to think that we want to prove ourselves that we think it's normal. And it's normal because it is everywhere, but it's not correct. When you try to prove yourself, like, well, when I have that job that I want, then I'll know that I'm worthy. When I have that relationship, then I'll know that I'm good enough. Because if I don't have it, then people will think, and then you're scared of what they think. And so you're hoping, and here's the loop, ready? You're hoping that because you feel like you're not worthy, you're not worthy is here. I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. In order to be worthy, I need to get up here so that then I can be worthy. But only worthy people are up here. But I'm not worthy, so I can't get up there unless I'm worthy. But I need to have those things so I can be worthy. But if I was worthy, I would already have it, but I can't have it because I'm not worthy. If only I could get up there, then I could have it, but I can't have it because I'm not worthy and I can't get up here. See? And so you will never, ever bridge the gap of being worthy enough while you believe you need to prove yourself to be worthy. It's only until you say, I was born worthy. I have as much potential as everyone else. No matter what I've done, it can all be forgiven and I can always learn something new. It doesn't matter about the past. I get to choose who I am. Then you become worthy because you're already worthy. But you have to find that inherent part of you, that innate, infinite potential potential that is just sort of swirling energy, right? We're all the same at our core. We are all made of God, or if you prefer, infinite spirit, the God force, infinite spirit, the divine mind, the 0 point field. We are all made of this. We all have one consciousness connecting us all. And in many of my other videos in the past and in an upcoming video, I will be talking about the mirror effect of reality and how we are all connected and how you can actually see that and prove that to yourself and change how others treat you. But that's coming up soon. Okay, but for now I want to stick to talking about negative and positive desires, because the real teaching is to follow your desires. But to follow your desires, you now have to understand that not all desires are created equally. Okay, so we've already covered pride, which versus proudness. Proudness is a positive form of pride, which means you approve of yourself, you like yourself, you celebrate yourself. Fantastic. Pride is a negative form where you want to be better than others. You don't want to show any of your flaws. You have to be perfect no matter what's going on inside. And guess what? This invulnerability, this fake it till you make it without rising to the occasion attitude, it disconnects you from people. It keeps you isolated and alone. The price for your pride is isolation, because you can't let people in. Because if you show, oh, look, I've got everything sorted out, and then you have a really bad month and you're crying and you've got these friends that you've built up this image with, well, you can't really tell them about it without then going into the other things that weren't quite as true as you convinced yourself they were, thinking that if I could just convince myself that it is true, that it will be true. Now, there is a place for delusion and being delulu, absolutely, but that's not this, okay? It's not when it comes from your negative desires needing to impress others. And I will get to the positive desires in just a moment. So the next one, Yep, so I've really covered pride, proving, and impressing, which is sort of the same, aren't they? Needing to impress people. I always had that, and I never understood, and it's because I was bullied growing up. I was never accepted. I was never understood. I never had I was watching something earlier, and this amazing lady was talking about, when I was a child, I used to have all these great things and, this switch it up and play and happiness, which is fantastic. Obviously, that's what we want for our children. But I never had any of that. I was always so miserable. I was always so put upon and felt resented and unwanted and bullied and confused and alone and isolated. So I never got any of that childhood freeness that a lot of people got. But what that did was, as a spiritual path where I chose to come to earth to experience that, so it activate those parts of my soul so that I could heal and purify them, it led me into a lot of darkness that I had to learn how to transcend. It led me to a lot of bitterness and even earlier on, quite a level of narcissism. But it wasn't that deep into my personality. But I did have a lot of shame and a lot of criticism for people because of how much I was criticized. And so that led me to needing to impress, thinking, who do I need to be for people to like me? Doesn't work like that. If you're coming from a belief system of who do I need to be for people to like me, then you're never going to be someone that they're really going to be able to like, because we can all energetically feel when someone's being fake, even if we don't know it. And if you're coming from a place of desperation, needing people to like you, caring what they think of you, thinking this person is the be all and end all, and if they don't like me, then I'm not good enough. And obviously that goes back to your childhood when you're made to feel that way. And has been repeating ever since. So that's why in the subconscious reprogramming work, it's not just subconscious reprogramming work that I do. It's also like connecting you with spirit, with the divine, helping you deprogram and become conscious, helping you heal and face and clear and up-level your emotions and your nervous system so you transform your personality on your deepest of levels. And what does Joe Dispenza say? He talks about how your personality creates your personal reality. You transform your personality and the world responds to you differently. And that's 100% what I do for my clients, except you're not putting anything on. You're putting things in, but that's just your own love to yourself, which really comes from within. You're releasing things, you're letting them go. So when you work to face the negative parts of your personality, which you mostly hide, you don't know that they're there a lot of the time. You don't know that you have secret parts of you that hate. You don't know that you have secret parts of you that separate yourself from people. You don't know why this pattern keeps happening, whether it's an income ceiling in your business or a boom and bust, or men ignoring you in relationships, or getting with a type of toxic man, or, feeling like your husband feels like you're nagging you, or maybe it's feeling like in your business you're attracting the wrong type of people, or whatever it is. It all comes from your unconscious and conscious mind, but your deep personal beliefs about yourself and who you are and how reality works, which you made as a child. So I help my clients, high-level, accomplished women who are ready to go all in on themselves, because I've worked with, I've been doing this for a decade and a half. And over the years, I've found that those who are willing to go all in on themselves, who are willing to do multiple sessions, willing to do a journey and a package together, you get the better results. You know that, it's like, imagine going to learn a language to an Italian teacher and saying, I just want one session and then I want to be fluent in Italian. Maybe I'll do 3 sessions. I've done 3 sessions. Why am I not fluent in Italian? Why? Piano. Go to get a piano lesson. My first time ever playing piano, trying to play the piano. Oh, you didn't do a good job. Why? I suck. I'm terrible. Things aren't changing. It's like, well, you just got one lesson. And yes, even though it is different with this type of work that I do with the energy alchemy, the transformational, helping you rise like a phoenix, it is different because you do get powerful shifts and transformations very quickly. It's just like learning that piano or learning Italian or Chinese. It takes multiple sessions to truly rewrite the way you think, to rewrite your identity, because it's all well and good to, rewrite your identity and change your beliefs and even actually do it on some level. But then life's going to happen. You're going to have that bitch from work, or that negative client come back out of the woodwork and test you again. And then, sure, you'll react differently to it, but something will happen that will trigger you. And then in the next session, we work on what triggered you and we clear it out. So you become emotionally non-reactive, which means that you get to stay in a place of peace and joy and love and empowerment and confidence. So that's what happens when you clear your fears, which brings me to the next point in knowing your negative versus your positive desires. Okay, so your next negative desire on the list after, where am I writing? Pride, proving, impressing, which are all sort of the same thing, is fear. So when you feel unsafe, you're like, well, when I'll have that next level of money, when I have that relationship, then I'll be safe. Now, it makes sense on the surface, right? I know this is big work that I've had to do on myself, massive. But your safety in the universe, how safe you are, it's a feeling. It's a belief. It's an identity. It's an identity in God, the divine, infinite spirit. Now, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, as long as you're not an atheist. I grew up an atheist. But then I found the divine. I found the truth. And the truth with manifestation that a lot of people are missing out is that you want to root your identity in being a co-creator with God, the divine, infinite spirit, the divine mind, the great cosmic consciousness, realizing that not only are you co-creating with God, the divine, but you are God, the divine in human form. We all are. That's why we're made in God's image. We're we're children of God. Like when they say a child of God, what does a giraffe have as a child? A giraffe. What does a dog have as a child? A dog. What does God have as a child? A God. Now, obviously, we've got levels separating ourselves from the true level of God because we're not omnipotent, but we can tap into God, the creators, the divine's omnipotence and power by identifying as being a co-creator and God, the divine, cosmic consciousness, the supreme being, personified in human form. And when you tap into this level of identity, then things become much easier to manifest. Then you can tap into your true abundance. But as long as you're needing these things to make you feel safe, you're never going to feel safe, really. You're always going to be on that treadmill. So part of my subconscious reprogramming and spiritual connection work is really all about helping you feel safe in your nervous system in a permanent way, which does take time and effort. That's why I work, the high level women that I work with, we do work in a package over 3, 6, 12 months. I've got a client that's been with me for 4 or 5 years. Now, she came to me with a lot of mental health problems and physical chronic illness problems and real world problems. And I am a master at transforming the hardest things. Like, so if someone has something tricky, if you're willing to do repeated sessions, you will see your personality transform. You will see your problems melt away. You will see opportunities arise and come in, like manifestations of money, like physical healings, relationship healings, family healings. I mean, so many different things, from being headhunted to being in an indie film to getting on TV to, I've had actresses work with me that couldn't get a role. One actress specifically that I remember, she was auditioning for years. And then after we do the work, because belief work, it takes time to set in, you start considering new things, your energy changes, the universe has to set people up in the right place. Within, I think, 2 or 3 months, she got a job on a TV show, right? This happens because when you shift your beliefs, your identity, your energy, your vibration, especially when you tune into the divine as well, you're not all trying to do it from your own power, reality lines up and you get to decide how it goes. You get to decide that it goes well. But when you're making decisions and having desires from fear to be safe, you're only creating more to fear. So we have to get you into faith. We have to get you making decisions from faith, from believing that everything will go well. And that's not just something you can decide in your head necessarily. I mean, in a way, if you decide over and 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 over again, but even then you have to be willing to look at the negative places that don't trust and why they don't trust. And then as you get to know yourself, you can re-educate these parts of you. You can merge with them. You can combine with them. You can connect with them. You can up-level them. And unless you've done this process, you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that. You don't just release the fear from your body because there's nothing to release in that way. You can dissolve the fear. You can connect with the feeling like it's a person because it is a subpersonality. And you can help it see that there's something possible, right? Something more possible. And then as it feels safe, because through your imagination you change it, then it changes its mood and the fear dissolves, right? So it's not as like catchy to say release the fear. Like if you want catchy things, well, then you're going to be programmed with propaganda. It's that simple, right? All propaganda is catchy phrases. Okay, so did I have one more on the list? Oh yeah, next steps. So a negative desire is often a next step desire. Like if it's the desire, it's like, well, I really want to move but in order to do that, I'm probably going to have to Now, I know that yes, it's good to have plans. Yes, it's good to have next steps. So to think spiritually, you have to be able to understand there's a paradox in everything and everything's a spectrum. So on one end of the spectrum, it's good to have plans, but you also have to be willing to abandon and change the plan because it's not about having the perfect plan. It's about having a plan. It's about moving forward with the plan confidently and certainly, and then being willing to change it when events change. What you have is your definite goal, your definite purpose, your definite desire, the thing that you really, truly want. Then the path will be revealed to you. But if you think right at the beginning, well, I have to do all these things and this is a plan. Like, there's people that in 5 years, then I'm going to do this. And then in 6 years, then I'm going to be married. And in 7 years, and then you don't actually know a lot of these things, do you? Yeah? Okay. So it's really important that you tune into the ultimate vision and then take your next step now. That's sort of really it. Now, when it comes to positive desires, so we name the negative desires, which are sort of all 1 and 3, pride, proving and impressing. The negative pride, of course, the needing to prove that you're enough because you think you're not enough, the need to impress others so that then they'll like you when it actually makes people sort of not like you. The fear of not being safe without it, which just creates more things that you fear. And thinking that you know the next steps when you generally don't. You might know the next step, but maybe like if you're thinking, well, in 10 steps from now, then I have to, well, what's the next few steps? You know, and you can, now that's not to say you can't map out a plan. It's different. I don't think I'm explaining this one very well, but if you tune in to the nuances and you look at, okay, well, what could a positive plan be? How could a negative plan look? It's like sometimes if you think like, well, in order to move overseas, I'm going to need to move to this place first, even though you don't really want to be there, but you think logically that's how it has to be. But in your heart, you don't want to do it, right? So that might be an example of that. Okay, positive reasons for your desire. And these are the desires you want to follow. For fun, because it's fun. It expands you, but it doesn't just, for expansion isn't just about expanding you, yeah, although it is. It's about for the expansion of life, for adding to life, for adding to others, for creating more, for building on what's already been built, for doing great things for life. And that's what God, the divine, infinite spirit is. Life. Another way of saying God is life. Life force. Is conscious. It is real. It is communicating through us all the time. It is speaking through me now, right? I mean, I literally wouldn't be alive without the life force, would I? Right? But even then, there's not actually really any such thing as death, because when we die in this reality, we sort of just walk through a door and put on different clothes that just aren't physical. It's more like light. Or by light, I meant light in density. Okay. So expansion, which is about for life, for giving, for growing. So anything that will expand is a positive desire. Okay, excitement, which is sort of like fun, because it excites you, because it lifts you up, because it's like a yes. And this is what Bashar teaches, although obviously some of his teachings around the V's and things like that, I think is probably channeled through his belief system. So he can really only get through what he believes. Anyway, but he does, all spiritual teachers have truth and lies. You have to, and a lot of the Christians, they don't want to look at anything in case there's like a lie in it. But even Christianity has lies in it. Like no one is perfect. And if you think that your belief system is, then you're in trouble. You need some humility, and you need to understand that no one human on earth knows the exact entire truth, but we all have truth, right? Even so, for me, I like to look for the truth and discard the rest. And yeah, so excitement, fulfillment, because obviously it fulfills you. I've written down vision, which means because it's a vision and it keeps coming to you. And it's like, you can't help it. You keep seeing it. It keeps coming in little flashes and little ideas. And you might even put it to the back burner. You may think, oh no, this is too big. This is too weird. This isn't it. This is different to what I'm doing. Or maybe it's bigger than what you're doing, or whatever it is. But there's this vision that keeps coming to you, and it keeps feeling, oh my God, this sounds amazing. This is exactly what I'd love to do. And then you might say, but it's too big, but it's too far. It's for 10 years from now. And this is what I've been going through as well. So I know very well. So right now I am removing blocks in the way of stepping into my next level, like my next level vision, which is so much greater than just healing people, which isn't just, it really does create a big, massive impact in my clients' lives, in my students' lives, and even in their families, in their kids' lives, in their husbands' lives. People change when you change. When you release judgment inside yourself towards yourself and others, you become this beacon of energy, of entrainment. Like, you know how when you're in a crowd and they say that after a while in a crowd, people's hearts start beating around the same speed, things like that? Well, that's what you become. You become the higher vibration, and people entrain to you. They rise to your level naturally. They release a lot of their blocks because your perception of them has changed as well. It's really powerful and beautiful. If you do want to work with me, best way, I have some high level groups, or a high level group coming up. message me to ask about that. And if you want one-to-one, then that is a high-level container. But at the same time, my work is so powerful, so profound, so deeply healing. It's not just information. We transform you. We release your trauma triggers. We change and upgrade your identity and self-concept. You end up feeling renewed, refreshed, invigorated. You let go of those parts of you, the decisions that you make that make you exhausted. I help you say yes to your boundaries without feeling guilty and know how to have them. I help you heal and communicate in your relationships. I hope you become just a much better version of you, who then also becomes lucky and abundant. Opportunities flow in, money flows in, the positive things in your life that you're ready for flows in, and things that you haven't even imagined as well, that you're so happy when they do. Okay. So reach out if you want to know about my one-to-one work, and we can see if it's a good fit for you, and if you're able to apply for it. Okay. Yeah, and the other one I just wrote down was love for others. So doing things because you realize, well, first, it might literally just be, oh, I have this love for others, I want to do this for them. Yes, great, wonderful, excellent. But at the same time, it comes from a spiritual understanding that we are all one. Like, you've heard this, but literally, like the cosmic life force that flows through me flows through you, and it's connected. There's no end or beginning to it. So you and I are completely connected, except for the fact that we have walls of matter and spirit built up to help us have our individualized personalities, right? That's that. So when you realize that when you give to another, you give to all, you give to yourself, then it's very easy to say, yes, I'm going to show up and I'm going to do something to share with people. Speaking of sharing, if this has helped you, please do share. One of the main ways people find me is through people sharing, and it can literally transform their whole lives. Some people, you could be very successful, but at the same time, maybe you have these aches and pains in your body, or some back pain or some chronic pain. My energy work does heal chronic pain while helping you manifest more money and be more successful. And some people can be suffering with some block in their life, and then they see my video and it just transforms their whole life. And I know, as a leader yourself, you probably might not like sharing other leaders' content because you may think that it diminishes you, but it doesn't. We lift each other up. This is about being a community. And of course, you don't have to share at all. But if you do want to give back, if you believe that people need to, hear about my work, and you just want to support me and help others, then share this, please. Maybe DM it to a friend or whatever works for you. Now, if you do want to work with me further, send me a message. No pressure, no obligation. In fact, I only work with people who are really excited to work with me. So we can have a talk about options, about how it would help you, about how it's helped others in your similar situation. You can ask any questions at all. We can even hop on a call, and I can run you through the steps of what it takes to move forward when it comes to transforming your own life. Obviously no free healings, but I can definitely run you through what the process would look like, so you can see if it's something that you're willing and wanting to do. And yeah, then if you're a good fit, if I believe that, you're the type of person who goes all in, you're the type of person who is actually ready, because it's one thing to say you want to do it, but not be ready to show up and do the work, because you have to face your fears. But when you do, they'll dissolve, and you'll have so much lightness and brightness and genius and creativity and abundance just flowing out from you. And this is when you become magnetic. This is when you start making better decisions. This is when you attract better people and you pull out greatness from others. I can tell you, subconscious reprogramming using my energy alchemy breathwork tapping method, and I don't always use tapping, to be honest, but it takes you so deep and so high into everything you've always wanted. My clients over the years have manifested the most incredible things, from, as I said, being headhunted for an indie film, going from being agoraphobic to traveling to Italy, right? That's massive. From someone that couldn't even leave her property, traveling to Italy. They've manifested followers. One of my clients came to me for fear of being on video. She was frozen, and she was already a best-selling author, but she couldn't do video. And so we did some work together, and after a very short period of time, she got her phone out, she started filming, and she became consistent. And over the years, since I saw her, she's grown her YouTube channel to 185,000 subscribers last time I checked. Now, that would not have happened if I didn't help her overcome her fear of being on video, because it was chronic. She would freeze like a deer in the headlights. And I used to have a fear of being on video too. So if you want to overcome any fear of being on video, any fear of being seen, if you want to step into the most confident version of yourself, so you know that you can, yes, charge more money, work with better clients, so you can attract better relationships, whether it's client, romantic, or whatever. And if you know that you're on a mission, like you're not just in it for the money, you have a real desire to help others, and you do have a bigger mission than probably feels safe or realistic for you, then I want to help you clear the blocks, fears, and old identities that are in the way of that. So I'm Kai Clifford, your spiritual guide and energy alchemist. If you will have any questions, just send me a message, reach out, and don't be a stranger. Okay, have a great day. And for those of you who have shared, thank you so much.